Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. The purpose of this video is to provide an overview and introduction to three of the most important tools we use for church translation. These tools are Plunet, WorldServer, and Trados Studio. While other training videos and documents will provide detailed instructions on how to use each of these tools, this one will help you to understand what each tool does and how it fits into the work of translation. Before we look at each of these tools individually, let's first see how these tools are used together by a translator to complete a translation assignment. First, Plunet will send the translator an email telling them that they have been assigned a translation job. This email will tell them important information, including the project name and the due date of the job. The translator will take this information and go to WorldServer, where they will download the files they are going to translate. These files will be opened by the translator in the program Trados Studio on his or her computer, and it is in Trados Studio that the translator will complete the translation of the text. Once the translation is complete, the translator will upload the translation into WorldServer and mark the work as complete. Finally, the translator will deliver the job in Plunet. Even though this last step is called delivering the job, please remember that the translated files are actually put in WorldServer and not Plunet. Delivering the job in Plunet just means marking it as complete so that the rest of the workflow can continue. It is also important to know that while most translation work follows this process, some translation projects are handled differently. If this ever happens in a project assigned to you, you will be given special instructions on how to do the translation. Now that we have reviewed the basic process, let's talk a little bit more about each of these tools individually. Plunet is a business management application. Its purpose is to keep track of what work needs to be done, who is going to do it, and when it needs to be completed. It has been specifically designed for translation work. It is used for assigning the different jobs in the translation process, tracking projects from start to finish, and it allows workers to bill for the work they have done. This system has replaced a tool called Clarity that was previously used by the translation division of the church. Plunet is accessed online by going to the address tbms.churchofjesuschrist.org. When a user first signs into Plunet, they are brought to the dashboard. The dashboard provides a quick overview for a user, showing what work is assigned to him or her. The most used section of the dashboard is the Jobs column, which sorts a translator's jobs by the job's current status. If the translator clicks on one of these statuses, Plunet will show additional information about the jobs in that category, including the due date and word count. The translator can also see additional information about the job by clicking the job number on the left. Because this video is meant to be a short introduction overview, we will continue to the next tool. Additional instructions on how to use Plunet can be found in other training videos and resources. WorldServer is the place where translation files are stored. This includes files in a source language that are going to be translated, as well as the target language files that are made by the translator. After the translator receives an assignment in Plunet, he or she will download the files that need to be translated from WorldServer. Once the translation is complete, the translator uploads it to WorldServer so that it can be reviewed and given to the customer. WorldServer is accessed online by going to tms.churchofjesuschrist.org. After signing into WorldServer, a translator will see a list of translation projects. Be aware that translators will usually be able to see more projects than just what is assigned to them, so they should only work on projects that have been assigned to them in Plunet. There are a variety of tools available that can help a translator find the specific project that has been assigned. Once the project has been clicked on, WorldServer will show this screen. From here, a translator can claim the project and download it to begin translating. After translating, the translator will also return to this page to unclaim and complete the project, so that the completed files can be reviewed and used by others. The specific process of how to complete these steps can be found in other training materials. When a translator downloads the project, it will launch the third tool we will be discussing in this video, which is SDL Trados Studio. Trados Studio is a desktop application for performing translation work, which means that this program is installed on a translator's computer instead of being a website that the translator goes to on the internet. It is here that the actual translation work that was assigned in Plunet is completed on the files that were downloaded from WorldServer. Because Trados Studio and WorldServer are made by the same company, they work well together, so it is easy to open files from WorldServer and Trados, and it is easy to return translated files from Trados to WorldServer. When a file is opened in Trados Studio, it will look something like this. On the left will be the source language, or in this case, English. Trados Studio automatically breaks up paragraphs in the document into individual sentences or segments. As you can see, each segment is in its own box with a number over on the left. The translation of the segment in the target language can then be written in the corresponding boxes on the right. When a translator first opens a new translation project, most of the boxes on the right side will be empty, waiting for the translator to fill them with translations of the source language segments. However, some of the target segment boxes may already contain translations because of our use of translation memories, or TMs. These TMs are databases of previous translations that have been submitted to WorldServer. Trados Studio uses the translation memories to automatically do as much of the translation as possible, based on translations of earlier documents. For example, if a document contains a quote from a talk that has already been translated, it can save the translator a lot of time for the old translation to be used automatically. This also helps to make sure translations are consistent. Even in these cases, though, the translator can still change the automatically translated segments in order to make sure they are correct in the context of the document. Once a translator has completed the translation of each segment, the translation can be returned to WorldServer in Trados Studio. However, because the translation files are stored on the translator's computer until they are submitted to WorldServer, it is very important that translators make sure to save their work often, especially when working on longer files, so no work is lost. As you can see here, there are many other functions and features within Trados Studio, but those will of course be covered in other trainings. This completes our overview of Plunet, WorldServer, and Trados Studio. Be sure to watch the other training videos for these tools to learn more about them. Thank you for taking the time to watch this training. We hope that this has been a helpful introduction to these tools and the translation process.